The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's the next 8 days that might decide the Canucks season. Welcome to October for your Vancouver Canucks. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bowen. And on today's episode of Locked On Canucks, we got to talk about the blender, baby. And I'm not talking about Kyle's pistachio and banana smoothies. I'm talking about Adam Foote changing lines up 1 through 4 prior to Game 4 of the season. Are these the right changes? Kyle, what was our biggest surprise among these changes? I think there's 4 pretty notable ones for Canuck fans here. We'll get into that. We'll get into a bit of a preview of the road trip as the Canucks embark on a 5-game trip in 8 days, starting tonight in Dallas. Kyle, man, oh man, where were you? When you read those Canucks lines on the toilet this morning, what was your first reaction?
It was this. This comment comes from Andrew Tate. Okay, hold up. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that at 2025. He's saying, where is Lecker-Mackey? I don't know where he is, but I know where Drew O'Connor is. And he's at the top of the lineup. And look, I get it. It could work. It could work. It could work. You need a guy who's going to dig some pucks out of the corner. You need Ilya Mikheyev 2.0. It could work. It could work. It could work. But and I know you're going to go through the lines very quickly. One love to all y'all for listening. Welcome to Locked On Canucks. One love to the Don't Doze Art Lab for giving you the West Coast bias. But, yo, you could argue that Drew O'Connor was really, really bad a couple days ago, along with a lot of players, but you could argue that he was really, really bad. Like, you look at Braden Coots' Corsi and Lecker-Mackey's Corsi, it's probably similar to Drew O'Connor because they're all on the same line. But here he is getting promoted to the top line. Okay, a little odd. And the other thing I'm a little confused at, but at the same time, I'm going to go to sleep with and actually get excited for in a couple hours, is the fact that they separated Bane, Sherwood, and Atu Ratu when they were dominant. All in all, though, that's where I'm at. I'm a little confused, but, you know, it's a prayer day at the Bowen household. I'm going to be optimistic. You know, Drew O'Connor, he can fix Elias Pettersson, Trevor. That's where I'm at.
Woo! Oh, my God, man. That's a bold take, man. Damn. Yeah, I mean, that was probably the most surprising thing for me as well, Kyle, was seeing Drew O'Connor skating on the top line at the morning skate today for the Vancouver Canucks down in Texas. Shout out to Mother Knucker. Look, I think it's surprising for a couple of reasons. You alluded to it. I mean, O'Connor, I think it's been a bit of a slower start for the season. I do want to say that, you know, this is a guy that is usually not the guy driving play on the line. And here he is playing with an 8-year-old Braden Coots and Jonathan Lecker-Mackey, who's by no means a 5-on-5 phenom at this point in his NHL career, right? He needs to be on a line where, you know, he's the secondary piece, not the guy. And he was the guy on that line. But still, surprised to see him on the top unit, considering that Adam Foote himself said that it was probably going to be Evander Kane. So I will say this about Drew O'Connor. I mean, digging into it a bit this morning, this is a guy that actually has quite a bit of experience playing with top centers. You look back to his time in Pittsburgh, his two of his 3 most common line mates were either Evgeny Malkin or Sidney Crosby. And during his last full season in Pittsburgh, one of the Penguins' most common lines was Crosby, O'Connor, and Brian Rust. And that line was a very high event line. They generated a lot of chances. They're also on the ice for a lot of chances against. I still don't think Drew O'Connor's the greatest finisher, but give it a whirl for a couple of games or at least a game and see how it goes. I'm not totally against this idea, but Kyle, to your point, I think at some point you'd like to see Jonathan Lecker-Mackey back in the lineup.
Yeah, we need to fix our power play. All in all, though, I will say this, devil's advocate to my pessimism, right? We only got to see Filipino on that top unit for like a minute or a minute and a half during that St. Louis game. I believe the Canucks only had 1 power play in that game, if I'm not mistaken. So, again, Kyle Bowen, be a little bit more patient. Stop being an asshole. All in all, though, just a little surprised. And you could make, again, the argument that my frustrations are valid, not just because I want to see Lecker-Mackey or I just want to help Elias Pettersson out and just give him more offense. and not people who bobbled the puck in the offensive zone. But again, it kind of just goes back to like the fact that Drew O'Connor hasn't been good this year. And I'm a little confused because it's like, if you said you liked Evander and Connor Garland, and they played pretty good in the third period against St. Louis. I know Evander Kane's been pissing me off, and I've been poo-pooing on the amount of opportunity he's getting because I feel like he's a turnover machine right now. I think he thinks he's like 20 years old and he can just do whatever he wants. But I'd rather see him up there with Elias. And again, devil's advocate, hypocrite Bowen. I'm not gonna lie, Trevor. I'm kind of excited to see Sherwood, Evander Kane, and Natsu Ratu. Just a little, even though I liked what Arshdeep did there, because I think Arshdeep's speed, and I think he's a better skater than Evander, to be honest, right now in his career. Like a bit of a better burst. I like what that did when it came to the forechecking in totality with all three of those guys. That's Ratu, Sherwood, and Baines. But there still could be something cool there. Like, that could be somewhat of an identity line. For real, Sherwood and Baines in between Atu Ratu, like that could piss a lot of people off. In a good way. Like piss the other fans off or the other team off.
Yeah, that's I agree with you. They had some chemistry early on, and Kyle, through 3 Canucks games, only 5 guys have 2 points or more. One of those 5 guys is Arshdeep Baines, baby. But look, I think Kane, Ratu, and Sherwood, that's something in preseason. The everydayers know that's something I've wanted to see for quite some time. I think the third line is the right spot for Evander Kane. Unfortunately, they just don't really have guys who can play up the lineup. I think if Nils Höglander was healthy, he would certainly be an option up on left wing. I think Höglander, Pettersson, Garland would be much sexier to me than O'Connor, Pettersson, Garland. But the fact you got Kane, Ratu, and Sherwood on a third line, to me, that's a really interesting mix of guys right there. So O'Connor on the top line. The third line we talked about a bit. We talked about Lekker-Mackey. Let's get to change number 3, man. The third big one to me, the Abbotsford line, baby. Come on, give it up for your boy Beggsy calling it yesterday, man. Let's go. But
Trevor, again, I'm excited for this. As pissed off on one side that I am that Baines already got taken away from Sherwood, I'm also excited to see a threesome that has chemistry. Like I don't doubt that these 3, even in the NHL, I'm not going to say limited minutes, but what's the word I'm looking for? You used it yesterday when you were talking about Arshdeep Baines, like limited strength of opponent, I guess. Like I feel like they could still, because chemistry is a huge thing. Like chemistry and familiarity leads to confidence. And if they're playing against like other fourth lines, if that other fourth line isn't like overly fast or overly physical or, intimidating, I feel like there could be like similar, and this sounds crazy, but similar like Garland, Bluger, Joshua-esque output when it comes to the chemistry between, again, this Abbotsford line, because just watch the film and even watch the film when they played together in the preseason this year. Those 3 know where each other are. Like I don't have a doubt in my mind that the passes are going to be crisp today between those 3 guys. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they had such chemistry during the playoffs. And look, obviously the NHL is a lot different than the NHL. But those guys, they really carried that team. Like they were the engine for the Abbotsford Canucks during that Calder Cup run in a league where, frankly, it's the veterans that tend to have a bigger impact. The guys who are in their late 20s who haven't made the show, the Sheldon Rempels, the Sheldon Dries of the world, the TJ Tynans, all those guys, the Cal O'Reillys. Shout out to all those longtime AHLers. But again, these young guys for the Abbotsford Canucks got it done last year. They look solid doing it. So, and look, right now, for as good as Braden Coots was in preseason, Max Sasson is going to give you more at the NHL level. This guy had a pretty good preseason. And honestly, if he was waiver eligible like Baines and Carlson, there's a good chance that the Canucks find a way to keep Sasson on this team after the opening day rosters were announced. So he kind of had the waivers thing working against him a bit, but very curious to see what those 3 guys look like together. And they've earned the opportunity, man. So I think that's something that one of those things that can maybe get the locker room going as well, because that's something that, all guys in that locker room could be happy about.
Oh yeah. That could get the locker room going, and not Elias Pettersson finding chemistry with Drew O'Connor. That's the big thing here. They got got to take it to the top. Like
Oh,
all of this forward stuff makes sense when Elias Pettersson finds his game, because we're just nitpicking everyone else when it's like, yo, we have to unlock the trickle down effect. And Elias Pettersson is time to be a leader and step up and be a star against the Dallas Stars. Now, I don't know if you, we're going to bring this, like, is the fourth lineup change like what the second line looks like? Is that what it is? Because
no, my fourth lineup change was the fact that DPD and Mancini are going to be playing together on a pairing.
Okay, can we say that for the other side?
Yeah.
Can you just like touch on the second line a little? Because I'm curious about your thoughts there. Because I actually like that. Just because Philip Hedl, as much as you can say he's been worse over the last 2 games, I still see like somebody who is confident, somebody who believes in his ability, somebody that doesn't have the yips like Elias Pettersson. And I feel like that's going to bode well for Jake DeBrusk and Brock Besser.
Well, Kyle, he's actually shooting the puck a lot, right? And he's getting the shot attempts on net. He's tops in the Canucks in shot attempts on net, or shot attempts in general at even strength, tied for the team lead in shots. He's doing good things out there. It's just, the bad penalties, the bad turnovers, those are coming to the forefront, right? But he's doing some good things offensively. And Kyle, I said this yesterday, man. Shout out to the everydayers. They know this. But that line of DeBrusk, Hedl, and Besser can be a really good second line. The issue for the Canucks is that their first line center is playing like Philip Deneau, and they got Drew O'Connor on the top line. That's the issue. But in a nutshell, DeBrusk, Hedl, and Besser can be a really good second line. So I'm excited to see what those guys can do together.
And outside of like Philip Hedl, like what specifically do you want to see more from when it comes to DeBrusk and Besser? Like specifically.
I think Besser is just like getting on the forecheck, be noticeable. Like I feel like he's invisible. Like he's looking more to me like Jake DeBrusk looked last season. Like I feel like with DeBrusk, at least I'm noticing the speed a bit more from DeBrusk. I think you like both players to forecheck a bit better. Like they're just too much on the perimeter, like not getting involved, not strong on pucks. So I don't know. I don't want to sound like an old hockey head, but I feel like they need to get in the corners, man. Battle, do something. Man, oh man, I mean, these guys are supposed to be 2 of your best wingers, and it feels like they're floating around in the offensive zone a lot of the time. But again, I'm more from DeBrusk than I am Besser early on, even though Besser's got the 2 goals. I think those guys just got to at least help Philip Hedl out on the forecheck. At least one of them find some open space, man.
Yeah, I'm having doubts with their ability on the forecheck. I feel like possessionally, I hope they find chemistry that doesn't equate to them retrieving pucks via like dump and chase. I hope they can just make crisp passes before they get across the blue line and just be cerebral. And like, how we're talking about the chemistry that like Baines, Sasson, and Carlson will have. Like, some of that will come from the forecheck, but I believe they'll just pass the puck around. Like, I want to see the same thing from DeBrusk, Besser, and Hedl. Like, just give us something. Show us that you're gonna have the ability to move the puck around, cycle, do your thing. And I don't know how much that has to do with the forecheck. I know a lot of hockey does, but I'm curious to see if they can just like snap the puck around. And maybe they can, because Philip Hedl right now is a lot more confident, like it or not, than Elias Pettersson. Anyways, on the other side, let's talk about Mancini and DPD. Let's read some more comments. Let us know, like, how do you feel? Okay, because by the time this episode ends, I want to be honest about where I've been with the Canucks and how I've been treating everyone like an asshole lately. Okay, so what are your feelings going into today's game? Do or die game. I don't want to cry game. Coming up against the Dallas Stars. All in all, though, we'll be back in a few minutes. First, we got to shout out a friend. One love to you and you and you. You're listening again to Locked On Canucks.
All right, before we get back to the program, baby, let's shout out our friends over at FanDuel. You know the deal. NFL season is here. Lucky week number 7. NHL season in full swing. And MLB playoffs also in full swing. Shout out to the BJs last night getting a lucky number 13 on the board and a 13-4 win over the Seattle Mariners. And right now, maybe if you're thinking about using FanDuel or getting on a betting app, go check out FanDuel, because right now new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. No surprise here, but the Vancouver Canucks underdogs tonight against the Dallas Stars, plus 140 to beat the Stars. If you put down $10, you could get 24 in return. Not bad. Okay. In terms of some goal props tonight for your Vancouver Canucks, do you think Elias Pettersson can get his first of the season? That's plus 300. Philip Peel getting on the score sheet, plus 350. How about the Surrey boy getting his first of the season? Arshdeep Bains, plus 800. Whatever bet you want to place, make sure you go do it on FanDuel. Again, new customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. What are you waiting for? Go visit FanDuel.com and download the FanDuel app today to get started.
People, we back doing this. That's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. One love again to the Don't Doze Art Lab for giving you that West Coast bias on the low. Speaking of you and you and you and you, let's get to the comments. NGK saying they'll do anything except put their best players on the first line. Cosmic saying O'Connor's promotion is mind-boggling to me. This guy really doesn't do anything other than skate around. To NGK's point, I guess they had DeBrusk, Besser, and Pettersson on one line together. But let's be honest, Connor Garland is way better than all three of those guys right now, but more specifically, Besser and DeBrusk. So, yeah, like, I think the Pettersson and Garland thing's going to work. I don't believe in the Drew O'Connor thing long term, but, you know, one step at a time. And I think it would be like a big thing moving forward. Obviously, if, again, at the minimum, Garland makes Pettersson a way better player. And I know people want it the other way around, but sometimes you need your friends, to pick you up, okay, and build you into the man you're supposed to be.
Yep, 100%, man. It could happen. And look, I don't think anyone really wants to see Drew O'Connor on the top line, but here we are, man. Here we are. Go ahead, Kyle.
They did trade a first round pick for him. So, hey, straight up, we traded a first-round pick for Drew O'Connor, and we gave away Dakota Joshua for nothing. We might as well, believe. Next comment. Since you want to talk about the D, we might as well mention this. Carmen obviously saying, Pettersson has to step up, or PD needs to step up, and let's be real, Hughes and Aronik have not been good. Carmen's a smart guy. We've been spending all this time talking about Elias Pettersson. I'm pretty sure Carmen is talking about Marcus Pettersson needing to step up and Elias Pettersson to step up on top of Hughes and Aronik needing to do the same. Because let's be real and let's be honest. Why am I talking like that? I've got a lisp or something? Am I slowing down?
Let's be real.
The defense has sucked in the last 60 minutes. It's 120 minutes of hockey for the most part. Like, they've been not as advertised, and I think that has a lot to do with Hughes's inability to instill fear confidence throughout his D-corps, because he hasn't been 100%. But again, Marcus Pettersson, he's been probably our most solid, to be honest, out of everyone. We need Elias Pettersson to clean it up. Again, we need Hronek to be better. And all in all, Trevor, you're going to get into a big change here. But the D, like my girlfriend sometimes says, because communication is key, it needs to be better. What?
Oh man, what's wrong with the decal? That's why you gotta swap. Whoa. Okay. All right. Back to the Canucks D. Okay, my bad. Hughes and Hronek, I don't think they've been terrible, but they've been a little bit of sloppiness through the first couple of games. Just as much as we wanted to see kind of the young guys like Kyle, we wanted to see Pettersson with Mancini, we wanted to see DPD with Tyler Myers. Those pairings have in very early sample sizes not worked out early on. Mancini's been a little sloppy. Tyler Myers, his chaotic nature was kind of impeding DP's play, in my opinion. But Pettersson and Myers, for one game and they were together, worked as a pair. But, again, you got the clear top three, clear bottom three, right? It's Hughes, Hronek, and Pettersson, and then it's Myers, DPD, and Mancini. And but DPD and Mancini are young guys. They will figure it out, I believe that. But man, oh man, to put them together on the same pairing when they've never skated in a real NHL game together. And oh, by the way, you're going up against a Dallas Stars team that has scored 5 goals in each of their games to start the season. And they didn't do that against bottom feeders either. They did it against the Jets, they did it against the Avs, and they did it against the Wild. This is a huge test for DPD and Victor Mancini, a bit of a sink or swim moment. And I'm just curious how long it's going to last, how Foote's going to handle their ice time, their usage. I'm excited to see them. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little nervous for the matchup tonight against a pretty good Stars team.
Yeah. I mean, it could blow up in Foote's face. Right? He's already done the double rookie thing with Leckermack and Coots, and it didn't work. That being said, I mean, instilling confidence in your young D-man, it's not the worst thing. Like, it could blow up in his face, or he could look really, really good. For real. Now, the one thing I want to say about all this, again, best of luck to Mancini and DPD. Wait and see. I'm high on these guys together, though. That's a lot of pressure. And again, we're playing Mikko Rantanen, Mike Modano, and company, right? So it's going to be tough. All in all, though, Trevor, I think it's important. It's important for like Valentino Martini to step up ASAP so we can get moved up the lineup and just like don't look nervous, be prominent, because the defense has looked really bad over the last couple of games, and I wonder, again, based on who we're playing and like the tough schedule and whatnot, St. Louis, Edmonton, Dallas, right? I wonder how much that has to do with still dressing Tyler Myers as a top 4 defenseman. And I think again, Mancini did not play well on Monday as well. Like, not only unnoticeable, but you could just kind of see he was nervous, maybe like drunk off the turkey or something like that. But moving forward, I don't have the patience. It's similar with the Vander Kane. Like, I think less is more with having Tyler Myers be like a shutdown guy. It's like it's game over for me. Like, we've already seen it early on this season. This guy clearing the puck over the glass, icing the puck for no reason. I just feel as if the more minutes this guy gets, it is bad. And I feel like it's how am I trying to say this? Like, is there a benefit in just like giving Mancini a bit of a leash here and letting him gain chemistry with Marcus Pettersson just so they can balance things out? Because if you're putting Mancini and DPD together, and this is the total opposite thing what they're doing with their forward group, right? Because based on what I'm looking at on paper, I feel like everyone's going to get 15 minutes a game today, which pisses me off. But if you go at the other end of the spectrum on their decor, it's like, is Tyler Myers playing 22 minutes today? Probably. And that's not good enough in 2025.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question, Kyle. Look, 2 things here. DPD and Mancini, one of them, I think, has to drastically outplay Tyler Myers, or clearly outplay Tyler Myers before they get the top 4 bump over Myers. And again, very early sample sizes. It's not like DPD and Mancini have been heads above Tyler Myers here. Let's not pump up the young guys too much. To the second point you made about letting Mancini and Pettersson play through it, I think there's something to be said there. Considering that Mancini only got 1 game there, it was a rough game. But maybe let's see what he can do with Marcus Pettersson. But I think the problem is they both look so rough. Both of those pairs, the DPD Myers pair and the Marcus Pettersson Mancini pair, they both look so rough against the Stars. We talk about this being a pretty crucial stretch. It's hard to work with experiments that don't work when you need wins early in the season to keep the momentum going, to stay afloat in the Western Conference race, to get out of the mushy middle, goddammit. So there's not this big, long leash for experimenting here, in my opinion. So I think that's kind of the rationale right now between by having Tyler Myers in the second pair. But look, there's a lot of potential on this defense. Obviously, we talk about it being one of the best potential defenses in the league. But if the young guys struggle and Tyler Myers still looks like the chaos giraffe, we might be in more trouble than we think.
Yeah, dude. And again, we've already seen it with Adam Foote and Evander Kane. Like, I don't know if he's like leaning on his veterans a lot, and Tyler Myers is one of his veterans and a favorite. And I just keep going back to like when Tyler Myers was good, like 18 months ago, or just more consistent than anything. And it's like less is more. Like, I feel like we're a way deeper team when he's like your 5-6 defenseman, as opposed to getting the tough matchups. Like, I'm sorry. Like, if I'm like, and again, we're playing Dallas, right? This is a legit team. I'm drooling if Tyler Myers is playing 22 minutes a game. I am. I'm just sorry. Like, I don't know what his minutes are like over the first 3 games of the season. Like, you can check that out. Like, maybe I'm exaggerating, but again, if you're playing 2 rookies together as a D pairing, like, again, you're looking at Hughes and Hronek 27 minutes, Marcus Pettersson and Tyler Myers 20 plus minutes, and Mancini guys like 11, 12. Anyways, comment. I want to read this. Okay. Carmen's saying there's a lot of turnover this year on the roster. This coach is implementing new things with no line, and no line really has chemistry. It may take longer than we expect. The roster is very young and inexperienced. A lot of truth to that. And I think, that's why there's so much pressure on Elias Pettersson, because you kind of need your best guys to step up. We've already seen Demko do it. There's also some frustration with Hughes because, like, this team desperately needs that buffer before this team kind of gets the systems and finds chemistry. And without, like, those three guys being at the top of their game in and game out, like, dude, I expect a sub 500 October, because Carmen's right. Like, there's a lot of new systems going on, and I know that's a dumb excuse, but it's the truth. And none of these forward groups have chemistry. So, like, tough sledding, I know, but it may take longer than we expect, but that doesn't mean we can't win games. We still have, like, if we believe Elias is like a superstar, Demko's a superstar, Hughes is a superstar, like, which the latter two are, like, there's a recipe to, like, still pick up points here.
Yeah, I really think the only forward duos that have shown some chemistry, like a Hedl and Garland a little bit, Ratu and Sherwood a little bit, that's pretty much been it so far. So, again, we'll see. Like, I think Carmen Grell makes some good points. It is a lot of turnover, young roster. I feel like we've said this in previous years, but I mean, they're both still true things about your Vancouver Canucks. So we'll see what shakes down tonight. Kyle, let's do an ad read and let's get to the other side. A couple of things I want to get to before we wrap up the show. We'll see what we have time for here in the last few minutes of Locked On Canucks. Oh, Kyle. I don't know how you're feeling about spending money on Canucks tickets these days, man. Are you going to be going to a game or not?
Honestly, bro, it depends how they do on this 5-game road trip, for real.
There we go, man.
Are we doing game time or Monarch here? Oh, there, game time.
Game time. Yeah.
Okay, so it's one left to Monarch, one left to game time. But again, best last minute tickets guaranteed at game time, like, for real. And Trevor's gonna let you know why. But if the Canucks suck in October, I want to see $10 tickets on game time. No, straight up. If Buffalo Sabres are sucking and we're finding $10 tickets on Ticketmaster, like, then I'll go to a game. Okay, straight up.
Yeah, don't get your hopes up about that. But what I can tell you is that the cheapest tickets you will find is on Game Time, okay? You know, Game Time gives the fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NHL tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. And man, oh man, I've used the Game Time app pretty much every time I buy tickets. You can compare it to everything else out there, but Game Time is the place to go. There's no hidden fees at checkout, and they get the lowest price guarantee, baby. So you know that you're going to find the cheapest tickets on Game Time, even if they're maybe slightly above average in this Vancouver market. But who knows, man? Maybe tickets for another NHL team to the Canucks on the road. A roadie. Let's go, baby. Go find those tickets with Game Time. Go down the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, and go.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. My name is Kyle Bowen. That right there is the second best dad in the world. And you are the commenters / the people. Speaking of which, let's get to some more comments. Man, oh man. Okay, James Moore saying, hoping Casey DeSmith poops the bed tonight in his first start. We need the help. And yeah. I don't know why I took offense to Dallas starting Casey DeSmith today, but they did it for a reason. Okay. No, honestly.
Well, Casey DeSmith, in fairness, has played really well for the Dallas Stars. Like, even digging into some of the numbers, he's again facing weaker competition, but it's been statistically better than Ottinger in some areas since he joined this team. Like, he's been a really good backup for them. I believe he was the guy in net, though, that let in 3 goals within the final minute to the Canucks when we won that crazy game last spring.
When we had PSU in the lineup.
Yeah. But he's been good for them. Canucks also catching a break tonight. Matt Duchene out of the lineups for precautionary reasons. Duchene out, Adam Ernie in. So the Canucks are catching a break there as well. Yeah,
that's a Sesame Seed. Yeah, there you go. Next comment. I did see a comment talking about Lecker Mackey again, which I really did like. Something about it was from the homie from US. He changes his name. Anyways, he was talking about Lecker Mackey and the decision to bench him being a bit mind-boggling and comparing Adam Foote to Rick Tocchet. And I mean, since we're playing, it wasn't that comment, by the way. It's from Papusa or whatever his name was. I know. Since we're playing the Dallas Stars, I got to bring this up, okay? Like, real talk. Because now we're seeing Adam Foote, like, move things around, change things. I think he's taking chances. Drew O'Connor to the top. Mancini and DP together, breaking up Archie Baines, Ratu, and Sherwood when they had some chemistry. Like, now we're seeing his fingerprints on, like, the decision-making of this team. Also saw him triple down on DeBrusk, Besser, and Elias Pettersson when that hasn't been working for a year plus to start the season. So he's already made a couple of his choices, right? And I got to bring this up because I'm an asshole. And I thought by the time this episode was going to end, I was going to relax everyone. But I want to make a bold statement here. I think if the Canucks lose 5 straight here to start on this road trip or go 1-4, don't be shocked if Foote gets fired and they hire Pete DeBoer.
Yeah, shout out to one of our episodes back in May. We did say that. I mean, look, that's to me probably a little silly. He's got to get at least like 20 games, man. They're not going to fire him after a 1-4 road trip, but
why?
Well, because like think about it, for Alvin and Rutherford, how bad does it look for them, right? Like if they're firing the coach after 8 games, this was your guy, man. This is your guy that you hired in the midst of
Rick Tocchet was their guy.
Trying to keep Hughes here, you know.
Rick Tocchet was their guy. Rick Tocchet was their guy.
Well, then they made Adam Foote their guy. That was their choice, Kyle. Like, don't give them an excuse for that. Say, oh, they just end up with Adam Foote because of Rick Tocchet leaving. Like, they made the choice to hire Adam Foote. There were other options available. He lasted longer. You're crazy, man. He lasted longer than 8 games, even if the Canucks suck at this road trip.
No, DeBoer wasn't available though. He wasn't. Like, Adam Foote got hired before DeBoer. And okay, if it's not 10 games, is it 15 games?
I think it's 20. I think it's like that American Thanksgiving mark. I think it's 20 games.
Yeah. And I hope that's not the case. I don't want that to happen. I just think it's an actual like possibility. Just based on the quality of coach that's out there. For real. And then if you think about it, it's been like Adam Foote's been in that locker room for a couple of years and Elias Pettersson hasn't found his game, right? So like I just think that there could be something desperate, you know? Like
Kyle, I agree. We were saying this back in May. I think there's a short leash on Adam Foote, considering that he's a first-time NHL head coach. I'm certainly not rooting for the guy to get fired. Like, that'd be pretty terrible if he got fired after 10, 15, 20 games, right? But there's a short leash here because of how much it matters to the Canucks and the fact that Pete DeBoer is out there. And he's had a lot of success recently in the NHL. All right, Kyle, before we wrap up, let's talk about someone else who's having success out there in the NHL in this segment that we're going to run for the first time this year, the Cam Neely Former Canuck of the Week.
I don't want to say goodbye.
Kyle, I did not want to say goodbye to this guy, but my first Cam Neely Former Canuck of the Week for 25-26 is Pius Suter. And we got a glimpse of Pius Suter on Monday night against the St. Louis Blues, skating on a third line, right? Just kind of where he was in Vancouver, but also playing. Kyle, he's averaging 17 minutes and 11 seconds of ice time so far this season. He's playing more than Philip Hedl. He's playing more than Elias Pettersson, and he's doing everything that he used to do in Vancouver for the St. Louis Blues. He's their top penalty killing forward, second in ice time, but top penalty killing unit. He's on the second power play unit for a team that's actually rotating their first and second units pretty evenly. He's on the score sheet with the golden assists. The defensive metrics are looking spicy. He's doing everything that he did for the Vancouver Canucks, and we let this guy walk for a Vander Kane, man. I'm still not over it, so I'm shutting up Pius Suter as this season's first Cam Neely Former Canuck of the Week.
Can you double check just so we can like feel good about ourselves? Like how like St. Louis allowed 8 goals yesterday. Was Pius Suter like a -6?
No, he was on the ice for 1 goal against.
Okay, thanks for breaking my heart, Trevor. Thanks for. Okay,
And,
so
and most of the St. Louis Blues, because they've gotten spanked by the Wild and they've gotten spanked by the Blackhawks, most St. Louis Blues are minus players. Pius Suter is not. Pius Suter is a +1. He's only been that was the only goal he's been on the ice for all season long. 2 goals, sorry, 1 shorthanded, 1 at even strength. So I mean, yeah, he's again doing everything that he used to in Vancouver. One of the top guys in expected goals, shot attempt differential. Like he's the Pius Suter of old, man. He's just kind of steady, reliable. He ain't flashy, but he gets the job done. He's only doing it for $4 million, man. It's hard to fathom that the Canucks let this guy go, to be honest.
Yeah, and they paying Drew O'Connor $2.5 million too. Like, there's probably room to no, I'm being serious. Like, Drew O'Connor played a couple games with the Vancouver Canucks, and they're like, here, take here's an extension, here's some money. And Pius Suter played parts of 2 years with the Canucks and didn't get that extension, right? At the time where Drew O'Connor got his. And remember, Pius Suter, when Pettersson was invisible in the Nashville series, Pius Suter was our best forward, arguably. Like, if he had a stronger shot, he's scoring a couple more goals. He scored the game-winning goal in that series too, right? And it's like, that to me, that it was a mistake. And right now, Pius Suter would look good, not only as a center, but he could play everywhere around the lineup. And yeah, Trevor, you're just an asshole, bro. We fired Pete DeBoer, and we want Pius Suter back. That's how we ended this episode of Locked On Canucks. And if you don't hate us by now, hit the like button. Okay, hit the like button. Subscribe to the show. We just got we made 3,000 subscribers. I'm gonna send that screenshot to my girlfriend and let her know that I got you, baby. Birkin on me. Let's go to Prada because you're proud of me. All right.
Woo!
Whatever you want, baby. So shout out to 3,000 subs. One love to you and you and you. And even on the audio side, like the audio numbers are going up. And one love to everyone sticking around. Leave us a 5-star review. Christmas is coming up. Boom, bam. Thank you, everyone. And please win today, because please.
Yeah, we'll be back later tonight. At least I'll be back for the post game show on Locked On Canucks. We'll be bringing the good vibes after Canucks win. We'll see you then. I'm Trevor Begg. That guy's Kyle Bowen. See ya.
Your Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.